Greetings in the name of the Most High John Rastafari. This is the girl Ginger, Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny, and if you want to get formal, it's Miss Jennifer Patrick. And I'll be just on the targeting people. A new week has started already, in fact, yesterday. In fact, it's since Sunday. So we are into February. Carnival is next weekend or somewhere around there. And this weekend is Calypso Fiesta. We will talk a little bit about that. And time and tide waits on no one. We're in 2026. This year is going to be a year of judgment for all them who was found last year, the year Jubilee, to be doing wrongs and ills and evil. This is the year of judgment for them. So we will sit back and see, and you will say, Sister Jenny, really, they say so in truth. No, I'm not a prophet or nothing. I just know what is truth and what is right. Yeah? So let me start the thing right now. Today's Tuesday, as I say, this is additional. We talk the thing unfiltered with your girl Ginger and Sister Jenny, Auntie Jenny. And if you want to get formal, there's a Miss Jennifer Patrick. So let me start with our order. And we must have the pledge. So what is this? What is this? Somebody sent me a message at the same time I go to play the pledge.
I solemnly pledge to dedicate my life to the service of my God and my country. I will honor my parents, my teachers, my leaders, and my elders, and those in authority. I will be clean and honest in all my thoughts, my words, and my deeds. I will strive in everything I do to work together with my fellow men of every creed and race for the greater happiness of all and the honor and glory of my country.
And you know, we must have some either good news, historical news, history, just, you know, anything that makes us feel good. And just recently I saw this, two of our sons and daughters of the soil would have won Grammy Awards for one for opera, conducting opera, and the other one for, I think, some scores for a movie or something. Director, is it here on the board? I'm not seeing it. I wonder if we put it there. In the meantime, we're waiting on that because I'm not seeing it. Let's talk about one of our...
Unfortunately, Dochi and James, our director, could not be here right now, but I would say as a producer, it makes it the best job in the world when we get to work with such incredible creatives like them. They're both once-in-a-lifetime talents. This, of course, could not have been done without the 200 people that worked on it. So thank you all. Special thanks to Musa, Top, Langston, Chase, Robbie on choreography, Hensel on production design, Sammy on creative and edit, TDE, Capitol Records. Thank you to the Academy. Thank you to our families. Thank you.
Thank you so much, everybody. It's an incredible honor to stand here. I'm honored to accept this award on behalf of the huge team of creatives who made intelligence possible. Congratulations to our fellow nominees. Janae and Janai also have people they want to thank, but let me start by thanking the Recording Academy for this recognition, which means so much. And speaking for myself personally, as a Black conductor, we're a small demographic, but getting less so, one generation at a time, and moments like these could be so inspirational for the people who will follow.
Yeah, two Trinidadians. The gentleman who now spoke, I understand that is Selwyn Ryan's son, who Selwyn Ryan, would have passed a very intellectual person in our society, and the young lady there also. So Trinidadians, it has been everything, and we have been excelling in everything. I remember recently, director would have given me a video to play that the beat into the Beatles song is a Trinidadian who brought that beat and that whole vibe state. So we have always been into music, sports, education, academics, everything. We there. So I know we are beautiful people, all of us in our cosmopolitan feel and our texture, color, skin, type of hair, just the whole landscape of this multi-ethnic, multicultural Callaloo that we have here is something really, really beautiful, and it is admired by people all over the world because they look at how so many different religious and spiritual persons of different spiritual and religious backgrounds, and all together without the confusion and the bacchanal and me. So we have things that we can be so very proud of. It just have some of us, just like with crime, there are a few being disruptive. There are a few in our society, whether in politics or whatever space, in trying to disrupt this family, this love that we have together. And as families, we do have our little, our back and forth and all that, but it's never anything that could disrupt it to such an extent that you're feeling this set of hate and anger, animosity. Unfortunately, coming up as that BSS and the UNC, in my opinion, have brought that to the landscape in an even more out in your face kind of way than we have ever had it in this country. So I needed to say that here. Sometimes I just get up all in my space and on my soapbox, right? So let me continue. So as I was saying, we also have another superstar, that is Dream Richards, and he just got another sponsor or something from one of them, Chic or some bacchanal. So I'll watch it. So it says here, news. Qatar Airways has unexpectedly announced a major personal sponsorship deal with Trinidad and Tobago's leading track and field star, Dream Richards. The agreement includes complimentary business class, Q-suite. I don't know if that's what I pronounce it, but you know me, this is where we talk the thing, right? You go get some green foods and thing here. We ain't in no English class, and we ain't have to be talking the King's English to be understood. I digress. Flights across the entire Qatar Airways networks wherever Richard competes at or travels, along with an annual sponsorship up to 22 million to support his training, competitions, and career development. Qatar Airways stated that this is part of the Qatar Airways dream. Jerome the Dream Richards and Qatar Airways dream. Hey, I seen the pattern there. Yes, I digress again. The Qatar Airways Dream campaign, aimed at honoring and empowering exceptional athlete talent worldwide. Richard's positive and enthusiastic response to the deal has sparked widespread excitement. I excited too in the athletic community, and received high praises from the chairman of Qatar Airways. Hey, Richard, darling, you keep reaching for this time. You work hard. And he's a guy who always hold on to your board and your family and things. Love you, darling. No, Trinidad and Tobago love you. We have ways and things, but we love you. We love you, and congratulations. I'm excited. I know about all you. So let me continue. He continues. So people, I saw this and it warmed my heart. It reminded me of the time when we had a high office holder, the Prime Minister of our country, Trinidad and Tobago, when there was class. This just brought that back to me when we had class this wrong time. Anyway, it was at the Panorama, apparently. And it's just a short clip, but it brought so much joy and warmth to my heart. It's super blue. But before I play that, let me get ahead of myself. This is Tyra Gittins, our long jumper winning. Again, we are winners, always winners. Look at this. That's our own. I tell you, it was short, but she does jump long, right? Let's celebrate her also and hope that Qatar Airways dream gets she sponsorship too. She looked like she could really jump. So as I was saying, only remember the time when we felt proud to have somebody as our prime minister. You remember? Not so long ago, we had Dr. Keith Christopher Rowley, and for a short time, my member of parliament for the Spinal Sentence was the Honorable Stuart, his Minister of Energy at the time. He became the Prime Minister going into the 2025 general election. Remember when he felt a sense of pride and something? So I was so happy and it warmed my heart to see this. I don't know what you guys, anyway, watch it. Here are the boss and the boss lady enjoying the pan. Hey, we come up with Sandy says and she hold entourages. I put an extra S on it. I know it's entourage. Yeah, only leave me alone. Yes. So as I continue, be quite a serious thing to talk, and all this grab and we as Trinidadians, as I tell you, we just laugh at things and sometimes I just to cool the anger in way. I just to say, if me laugh, what I go say, or what I go do, so let me laugh. It's that kind of thing. So let me continue. It continues. So I am seeing, oh, they watch this. Now, I went to Tobago for, not physically, but a part of the show. I'm going to go on Tobago for a couple of minutes. Now, when I heard that they get the Blue Wave as the cargo boat to replace the Cargo Star, I said, Blue Wave. That was before the THA election. Blue Wave, I said. Like them buy a boat because of the name. And I seen what happening now. I kind of tend to believe it's probably because of the name and blue and the anchor hole and blue is the color and all them kind of thing. And the sky is blue and all them kind of thing. I think they buy that boat because of the name. Because I've never heard a boat in its second trial run, however, while I understand somebody was telling me, while they park up or wait, let's call it, like when I go into the area where the ship is, I'm not a marine person, right? I don't even like going on the sea and that kind of. But all you know, when I park up or when I'm park up, right there, some bad weather or some kind of thing so I was talking about cause it to thing and it end up thing in the hull. So I said to myself, there's a dinghy, bad weather. There's always a bad weather, and them spirit and cargo, all of them does weather the weather and go where going. And then when I see the damage it get to the hull, I say, this is my opinion. I said, that can't be no new boat. That looks like a whole boat will come here. How that hull could have mash up so? And I'm not a ship person, but I watched it. It don't make sense. It mash up like it was a roll and roll off car. That get a little bounce somewhere or something. The thing rip way. All they watch it. If all they feel like joking, all they watch this damn thing. Blue wave, that like a blue curse.
Them thing had to come, and then the class had to approve it before they could even.
All right. When I see it, when the picture when they send me to that, the way it is now.
Like, it looks different, right?
Different, yeah. That's the real report.
It looks different, that.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah, you see it inside it.
Somebody like that.
Yeah.
That's an old boat. That's my opinion. That's an old boat. That looking like a roll on, roll off. How that mash? How the hole in that mash up, sir? Like if it's biscuit. Look, I'll give you an opinion. Then I come and see what just one now on the table. What just one now? People that say rise on the spirit. Some bacchanal happen, they delay, and people have to come off all kind of thing. This is my opinion. The TPP is a blight. Them is a blight. All is bacchanal. Look at this. So now that the cargo star gone, or the cargo star gone, that was the cargo ship, right? It will bring all the goods and the truck and the this and that. And this one, this blue wave, with the whole hull rip up, like it is a distressed jeans. Well, like goods and things going up in Tobago right now. Look at this. This is a Elizabeth Williams story. Shelf in Tobago, looking empty. So if this cargo boat stayed on and next week, whatever, they will start to starve in Tobago. In one of look, all of us just saying, not me, nah. What? Wait a second, see here. The last time it had that kind of bacchanal is under the People's National Movement, and Dr. Rowley would have rectified that. Tobago had more boats than some big countries, or bigger countries or island than them. Tobago had some that it wasn't here now. Out and nobody again. Think they running smooth. Iron all went up on one of the boat and then thing running nice. One up, one down, one up, one down, and next one so, and next one. Understand that is the spirit that break down. How a sudden all these things happen just so? Them is blight. Following them is blight. That's my opinion. And I understand because of this situation with the cargo, with the blue wave. First time in 7 years, if I'm not mistaken, it's not going to have the Panorama Media Band finals in Tobago. It had no boat to carry them up, nothing at all. It happened down in Trinidad. What is really going on in Trinidad? They're trying their best, eh? They're trying their best to zombie the carnival. They're trying their best. But you see, Ubun and our ancestral was, we're not allow that, because this thing is not just normal thing, This is a vibe from a people that created something. The heat and the turning that, using the fire, listen to me, this is a spiritual thing too, eh? TPP, all they get all themselves caught up in a scene, in my opinion, and all they pull Tobago people with all there. And Tobago people, unfortunately, while all they enjoying all themselves because of the big salary and the zesting and the taking pity and the weave and the makeup and showing the boots and the this and the that and all that, while that happening, the ordinary people in Tobago will be feeling it. Because they can walk across a bridge and come Trinidad and make groceries and go back across the bridge. They need a boat to carry them. And if this cargo start going and this new thing that make two trial and it don't mash up, the whole mash up, you can't take a minute to fix that. I will be very uncomfortable as I know it's not really a passenger thing, but dealing with that thing, that blue boat. To see how a whole man, I rather say not take more weather. It's first time we have weather in this country. It's a period. Look now. Fali Chavez Augustine, only tie up Tobago. Only tie up Tobago bad. But let me tell you something, always tie could untie. When it start to untie, only backside, so only start to read the repercussion. And the ancestors and them, the gods and them deal with all you. You see, and where she name? The Ava woman. Who always happens, show that a Fali light, aqua light. You hear them? She will talk out, she talking out because something with some space that they get them for the church and the this and the that, and it have more of that to come. Just now you go hear Bernie and the next one, all them talking out, they're gonna have to talk. Okay, I keep them all closed because them encourage people. Them encourage people and fight on the PNM and promote Fali. And today Fali will leave all their hanging dry. Let me tell you, it have a spiritual price to pay for all they do in Tobago. Eh? Who do what they do in Tobago? Me no not play, Papa. How they stick? I don't know, it just stick. That happen. Yeah, well, that doesn't people hear me. It's always some kind of damn drama. What the hell I hear? I didn't touch no camera. People, let's stay with me. You know it's some drama. What the hell I seen here? Oh God, it come back. Oh, I just look up and see my mouth free. So I want to know what the hell is that? I jumped in, I get frightened. Anyways, I didn't touch nothing. The mouse, as I started talking about the big one, the spiritual thing, whatever, you see, all I can't stop this. All I can't stop this. But let me continue. Let me continue. Tobago, as I say, all they put all themselves in a pickle. But I know not everybody in Tobago thinking like that. So you know what? I will help fight with all you. Once all they want me to, I will help the fight, right? So as I was saying, first time I think in 7 years, Medium Band finals will not be in Tobago. What a shame. And all had to do with because of that boat with the hull looking like a chili baby, it mashed up like a distressed jeans. Look, let me continue, Papa. So, Lord Father, all you know that the Minister of Finance, I say he's a glorified accountant. In my opinion, I'm no insult because I can't do accounting. That is a whole task by itself, not me and maths. I find he's an accountant. I don't think he's at the level to be the Minister of Finance. I really don't think so. Again, my opinion. He was showing off. He come back to talk about you remember he went out in foreign day to look to raise a 1 billion US in bonds, and they had where's that bank? Whatever bank, I can't remember, to help them raise it. And he was so excited to come back to say it's oversubscribed. As if it's the first time. That happened already under Dr. Rowley and them. That they go out there to raise, but it was oversubscribed. You didn't do nothing new. You invent the wheel, nothing at all. Anyhow, he boasts about that. And that money is not for ready for development, like to pay back loan and all kind of thing. When you talk about Standard and Poor's and Moody and IMF, they just want to operate as if them is PNM people. But if PNM was in office and Moody or Standard and Poor's or IMF, they downgrade, you would hear how PNM is doing good and they know what they're doing. But under UNC, it's PNM, right? So this is Standard and Poor's, and this is February 1st, 2026. Declining liquidity prompts S&P warning on TNT banks. Liquidity in Trinidad and Tobago banking sector is weakening, a shift that could reduce the system resilience in stress scenarios, prompting Standard and Poor's global rating to revise the industry risk trend to negative from stable. The Trinidad and Tobago banking industry liquidity strength is eroding, which could reduce the industry's resilience in the face of hypothetical distress scenarios. As a result, Standard & Poor's global rating revised its banking industry risk trend for Trinidad and Tobago, BBB -/-A/3 to negative from stable, S&P stated in a recently released bulletin. The bulletin was titled Trinidad and Tobago Banking Industry Risk Trend Turns Negative on Declining Liquidity Buffers. Standard & Poor's said Trinidad and Tobago remains in banking industry country risk assessment, that BICRA Group 6, a category that reflects elevated industry risk relative to global peers. Under the BICRA framework, economic and industry risk are scored on a scale of 1, lowest risk, to 2, highest risk. Our rating on domestic banks, Republic Bank Limited, BBB/-/A-3, and First Citizens Limited, BBB-/-A-3, are not affected because our sovereign rating influences the ratings and outlooks on them. The bank's standalone credit profiles of their intrinsic creditworthiness before accounting for the sovereign influence remains at BBB, one notch above the rating it stated. S&P attributed a weaker industry trend largely to unstable government savings, which have led to increased volatility in bank deposits. The rating agency stated that pressures stems from ongoing fiscal challenges and the country's heavy reliance on energy revenues, which remain highly volatile. As a result, Standard & Poor's said it may no longer view liquidity as a structural strength of the banking system unless recent trends reverse this year. Our revision of the industry risk tends to negative. Trend to negative reflects persistent volatility in banks' deposit as a result of unstable saving from the government amidst continued challenges to boost fiscal revenues, mainly due to the highly volatile energy income, S&P stated. Look, and it goes on and on and on and on. The point is, I remember the bacchanal in the First Citizen Bank, when the woman who was there with the whole team, the board, was handling things nice. We didn't have any issue. They come and like they wanted the woman to leave before she time over, and they put their own people. And I think the same person who, one of the peoples, they put on that in that board, they go on and they take Republic Bank board too. Listen, there is a fallacy that only Indian people could do business around. Let me tell you something, eh? It have plenty Indian people, they have no managerial skill. And we know that there are some people in the Indian community that's operated false academic qualification. They're saying they went this college and that college and this whatever, and they never went them places. Tell me if I lied. I wonder if the people who are on the board in First Citizen Bank and Republic Bank, if the resume, if it authentic, or if it padded, because I remember Rishmi, these things are happening now. Rishmi, who was a typist in one of our highest intelligence services agency, became the director or something. So I don't know. And Jack wanna say, me didn't say, I'm paraphrasing, it had to do with who like pum, 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 pum. And because at all them pums and the pums and the pums, people was getting, I don't know. Anywho's, but she became the director, wherever, of our intelligence agency. And then when the mag bus, Home girl had to get out of it. And I hear she changed her name and something and something. All remember Rishmi? Them things that's happened. There's a question mark on Dr. Shane Mohammed's doctorate too. Some university say he went somewhere and like that wasn't there and all that. So these things is real. And I have a question mark with Kurt Mayhew too, whether or not his doctorate authentic. I'm just saying because his conversations are purely racist, guttural, and it lacks finesse. I think he feels with his false accent that he is so schooled. I think he doesn't understand when you read his writing. Well, his book, Politics in a Half-Big Society or some kind of thing. So when it went for review, I paraphrase, then the person who, because there's had to get credible people to read these things, eh? When you write these things, again, doctorate, you must get somebody of France. The person who read it, I can't remember his name right now, basically say, that book where you write there, that's a history book you could get in any text. You could get in Dr. Eric Williams' text, CLR James, you could get it anyway. It's basic things. You have, I just paraphrase it, how I understand it. What you put inside is and everything, you know, nothing exceptional. About it really, in my opinion, I say it really have bacon truth. So, how did I get on this conversation? Yes. So, as I was saying, we have been downgraded. And we see the bacchanal in the banks now, on the boards, Republic and First Citizen. I just asked him whether the people who have been put on these boards are as competent, experienced, have the resume, real resume, academic qualification suited for the job as the others who were there under when the PNM was there. I just asked him because I find everything falling apart. Quick. Everything falling apart. Let me tell you something else. Listen to Miss the president or acting president or whatever it is, Miss Delcy of Venezuela. Listen to she. Oh, yeah. We looking like, not we, no? Come up beside this as looking like the cheese Tanzanians. She looking like she get played. What the damn thing? She get played. We looking tripping. Listen to Miss Delcy, the translation. I don't speak Spanish. It's not me said I what she said. Like who translated said that, right?
Y yo desde aquí quiero enviar un mensaje a un gobierno vecino de Trinidad y Tobago. Hay una nueva primera ministra, que es la primera ministra de Marco Rubio en Trinidad y Tobago. Y la están envenenando con pajaritos preñados, decimos en Venezuela. No sé cómo es la traducción. Pregnant birds, ¿verdad? Pero no sé cómo decir lo que significa esa expresión. Pajaritos preñados. Marco Rubio le está vendiendo pajaritos preñados a la primera ministra de Trinidad y Tobago, país con quien tenemos acuerdos en materia de gas para exportarle el gas. Si Venezuela no le exporta el gas a Trinidad, colapsa la economía de ese país y va a impactar en el Caribe. El presidente Maduro siempre ha sido muy responsable. Legado del comandante Chávez, lo que fue Petrocaribe para los países del Caribe. Bueno, perturbaron, bloquearon. Estados Unidos bloqueó el programa Petrocaribe. Miren cómo está Haití. Bueno, quieren hacer lo mismo con Trinidad y sus pajaritos preñados, porque le vendieron la falsa idea de que ellos le van a quitar el gas a Venezuela para regalárselo a Trinidad. ¿Ustedes creen que eso es posible? Pajaritos preñados, ¿verdad? Y yo le hablo desde acá al pueblo de Trinidad y Tobago. Se lo decimos responsablemente. La primera ministra los está llevando por un precipicio al creerle a Marco Rubio de que él le va a poder regalar el gas de Venezuela. El gas de Venezuela lo tienen que pagar. Cualquier molécula que se exporte, no solamente a Trinidad y Tobago, a otros países vecinos, como tenemos ya planificado, tiene que pagarse. Esa es la cooperación internacional, esas son las relaciones comerciales naturales. Lo demás es antinatura y no existe, y la están engañando, y ella está engañando a un país entero. Está engañando a los sectores empresariales de Trinidad y Tobago y lo van a dejar con la brocha colgada. Necesitan el gas de Venezuela y la única manera es con el gobierno de Venezuela, con el Estado venezolano. No hay otra manera. No es Marco Rubio quien le va a dar el gas a Trinidad y Tobago. Es Venezuela. Es Venezuela. Ustedes lo verán. Más temprano que tarde, decimos también, además de pajaritos preñados, más temprano que tarde lo verán.
Well, audience, it looked like Miss Delcy told them in mind, not me, because I never tell Miss Delcy nothing. It's one thing when people hold you in mind understand the same language like you could understand and watch the facial expression. But when they hold you in mind and they look at the next language, you don't know, you really don't know what's going on. You really don't know. You don't know if a smile, when they smile, it means a smile. You don't know, you just don't know. So the president of Venezuela, how we in mind in Spanish. How come and them in mind in Spanish, only thing they say about she and all kind of thing. And she letting them know based on the English what you call it? The English subtitle that to get the oil and the gas, you have to get it. Venezuela, you have to talk to, like basically what she said. And that the prime minister of this country leading me over a cliff. I want to tell Ms. Delcy, I can't speak Spanish. I want to talk to Rick about that for me. How I could say, she ain't leading me off and nothing because I did never following she. So she and she supporters, she leading and she supporters and I'm leading she. Every single day you see them cussing. Every day, every day. So Standard and Poor's downgrade the banking sector because things looking shaky. Excuse me. It looked like, in my opinion, how I really think, like people in saving, they go and putting the money in the bank like investors, but they say, you see all the shady thing at all, they are all the change this director and that one. I ain't think I put my money there, just saying. So now we're hearing if Kamala and them, the Honorable Prime Minister and them, was waiting on Venezuela gas for the US to give them it. That ain't happening. Everybody turning their eye to Guyana now. Ms. Delcy say, oh, then you come to we. And you know, Kamala and them ain't have nobody verse. Or they have so much bad man, in my opinion, them ain't going there. So watch me, we cook. But you know what I was telling somebody today? When some of the people were saying they're suffering and we grass, and I did never say that. Things was a little, but you know what? We were getting by very comfortably in this country. I did never say I suffered. I did never. So when the shit hit the fan, me will not be suffering. All who they say they're suffering, and Dr. Rod is a dictator and evil and whatever, they will see and experience sufferation and dictatorship and tyranny and bad man and evil. They will see it, they will experience it. So next time they will never look a gift horse in its mouth or take things for granted or watch the other house across there and leave good house and go in bad house. a lesson probably is to be learned. I don't know. Anyhow, Miss Delcy her camera them in she mind, my opinion, in Spanish. So that is a different level of bacchanal riding. So why I had said that the Minister of Finance is a glorified accountant, something to that effect. I'll tell you why, right? Come now, man. You know the camera is this and all kind of damn thing happen. Hey, Kiwi! I should have some salt and sprinkles up. Take up gun. Yeah. This was January 26, 2026. Yeah, January 26, 2026. Yeah. It was in the Daily Express. Tanko says gas price hike should not hit consumers. Finance Minister Devendranath Tanko says he does not expect certain manufacturers to pass on the cost of increased natural gas prices to their customers. He don't expect that. During the United National Congress, his conference at the Shogunas headquarters, so they wasn't talking as the government of Trinidad and Tobago, they was talking as the political party, the UNC. So probably that's why he talking so much stupid. I just say. The minister, when asked about the National Gas Company proposed 76 increase to light industrial customers, and the Trinidad and Tobago Manufacturing Association concerned about it, said the issue was one that should be discussed by the TTMA with its customers. I think that there is a challenge now for businesses, including the TTMA, to look a bit closer at their operational abilities so they can look a little bit more at the efficiencies to streamline them to ensure that prices to customers do not increase. Now, all that we know from time immemorial, if you increase overhead costs and things to retailers, wholesalers, manufacturers, anything, in order for them not to take out money from what they're making in their profit, because them don't want a loss, they just do one or two things. They either cut costs, and that means send home workers, or stop making certain things, slim down the whatever line. Or they look around and say, here what, we passing it on to the customers. All of we know that that is ABCD thing. This Minister of Finance, he don't think that the increase in gas will be passed down from the manufacturers to the customers. But this is on MP Stewart Young page. This is an example of the UNC incompetence and the negative consequences of their continued imposition of hardship on Trinidad and Tobago citizens. The price increases of natural gas up to 70% increase to our manufacturing sector is going to lead to increases in the price of goods to us, the citizens and consumers. Expect price increase with food prices as well. The Kamala Persad government incompetence in the energy sector has far-reaching consequences that already hurt in Trinidad and Tobago. We are experiencing a loss of jobs and forex businesses shutting down in number records and higher prices to consumers. Who is winning? Stuart Richard Young SC, January 27, 2026. Now, January 26, 2026, the glorified accountant, my opinion, Minister of Finance, basically, the price increase in gas when he asks, well, it shouldn't be passed on to the consumers. The next day, a responsible, experienced, and knowledgeable member of parliament who was the Minister of Energy, he was also Prime Minister, and he held several portfolios prior to that. He said on January 27 that expect price increases. He said that, hey, listen to this. January 26th, A memo went out from Trinidad Cement Limited, letting us know that they will be increasing the price of cement. And that will have to do, of course, with the increase in gas prices. But our Minister of Finance said there will be no increases. They will find a way and all kind of trippiness. But we know they're talking trippiness, right? Okay. So when they get called incompetent, they can't get vexed. So I'm going to continue. So this is Rambus. Love to play Rambus. He is the explainer at Trinidad and Tobago. Social media explainer on topics. If you want to get it there. Right? But you could also come here too. So listen to Rambus on the cement issue.
After the news broke a few weeks ago that Gerald Ramdeen, the head of NGC, was planning to raise the cost of natural gas and TNT by at least 70%, we are now seeing the trickle-along effects where TCL has announced that they are going to raise the price of cement by 15% effective February 9th. Now, there are two ways that this can go. First way, Rockhard Cement is hit with a protectionary tariff. The same thing the PNM did a few years ago when Rockhard Cement was forced to leave. It was right to protect TCL. I wasn't in favor of that because I like an open market to decide where things are going, but I understood why they did it. Rockhard is allowed to stay on the market and compete with TCL, whose price is now going to go up. Now, Rockhard don't bring in the amount of cement TCL have. I think they have a quota. But if this continues, TCL will start losing market share. And eventually, they'll have to close down TCL because there's no way you can compete with Rockhard at those prices. And given the fact that since April to now, there's an additional 60,000 people now on the breadline, I don't think government will care too much if 400 more goes so. You also have to understand that any void in the market that TCL's absence could create, India can step in to fill that void. And I don't mean it in a sarcastic way. India is the second largest cement manufacturer in the world. A lot of things were discussed when Modi came down the last time. A lot of things. But I can hear you all saying the unions will never allow them to close down TCL. They are not closing it down. They are simply putting it under pressure and allowing the market to do it for them. You also have to ask yourself the question, which Roger are you all going to get to defend you all? This Roger or this Roger? Or maybe this Roger? I am not saying his union leadership skills have been compromised. I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that it seems as if you all may not be getting the best of Roger. That's all I'm saying. And you also have to understand, this country is a cartoon, you know. Because Roger sued Munilal for defamation and won. I wonder if he was ever paid that 500,000. But anyway, all that to say, if I was working TCL, until the government came out and said, well, we're going to increase the Rockhard tariff or lower the import quota, I wouldn't consider my TCL job to be job security. Because all they have to do is increase the Rockhard import quota and it's all over for TCL. Well, TCL in Trinidad, the other ventures in the Caribbean may survive, but they ain't going to take the workers from here and carry them there, so you're all going home.
And I want to put back this thing with TCL because it's very informative, right? So as I was saying, on the 26th of January 2026, the Minister of Finance said that he don't expect, well, guys, I put it my way, how I interpret it. He don't expect that the manufacturers will carry up the cost of the goods because of the increase in gas. That's the next day or the same day, TCL would have put out a statement saying, well, basically, watching this feeling, because with that, we're not sure how it will affect whoever. And bam. Just recently, I can't see the date here right now, just recently, cement prices goes up. So you see the sequence, I think? They increase the gas taxes. The Minister of Finance jump out and say, nah, they ain't gonna do nothing for prices and things. Ma'am, them cement people put out a notice saying here what's going on. Based on that scene there, we watching it, because we might have to, do adjustment, might have to, bam, they come back out to the next, no. So come on and say, here what's going on. The manufacturers paying for increasing gas tax, whatever. taxes on gas, it will carry up the cost and it will pass on to customers. Bam, after that, TCL comes. Cement prices goes up. So that's why I say we have a glorified Minister of Finance who don't understand. I don't think he understands. That's too big for him. He might have been able to run a grocery. You know, a little grocery or something. No disrespect, but he ain't ready for this. This all kind of thing about comment, but he's he's a what you call the thing? He's a architect and but you know, architect knows number, they know to cut spaces, cut so things, so cut so whatsoever, then precise in the judgment and cutting inches. So he was really suited for the job. He's a man could have cut it here, put it here, twist it here, and he said, what? That we do about who? This one don't have that kind of skill. So he did better off with comment with as unlikable as he is, but he was doing the job. Anyway, let me continue. I want you all to listen to MP for Malabar, MP Dominic Romain, and listen to him break down this 10% because that conversation is still relevant because I see Felicia Thomas had a meeting with the CP and they're talking about non-cash items for retirees and whatever. Retirees didn't get paid in non-cash. Retirees that get paid every month in cash for the job. So I don't know what non-cash or they want to get people. So there's a whole bacchanal. So now like she querying the non-cash or something. So not only that, recently NCW North Central Regional Health Authority workers are protesting the what Tim Gopi saying to go. PSA sent up somebody there to stand with them and all kind of thing. Now, Tim Gopi Singh is on the board of the NCRHA. You know who on the board too? Felicia Thomas. Isn't that conflict of interest, people? So listen now, the same how Rambo show Roger hugging up the UNC and all that kind of thing. Compromise, in my opinion, just like Felicia Thomas, compromise. You as an employer now, because being on the board of directors of NCRHA, you are an employer. And you want to represent the employee to fight against the employer. You want to fight against yourself. That don't happen. But because this girl, in my opinion, has no ethics, no shame, no dignity, no class, she classless, in my opinion. She won't step aside. She will take more and more and more because them so, like money is the God. But the longest rope have an end, Mrs. Felicia Thomas, for the wickedness you have done to PSA and its members. The longest rope have an end. I'm talking spiritually. Spiritually. When you start to get these spirit vibes, and all people say, hey, what you walking so? Look, they put him so. What you dragging so? It's wicked thing you do. When you see them later in life, you want to know how they get so. And somebody say, hey, it's the wickedness they do. People mouth on them. People tears fall on them. Okay. So we had that happening. So listen to Dominic Romain explain this 10% and he broke it down because, you know, that is his forte, finance.
To all the UNC supporters and to the PNM supporters as well who wanted to kill Rowley because Rowley take 47% pay raise and he only offer only 4. And what was not pronounced enough in my view was the fact that as opposition leader Kamala Pusabi-Sessa would have gotten a 72% pay raise. Last I checked, 72 was more than 47. And I explained to you all why Dr. Rowley didn't get 47 but 28. Because part of the pay raise was something that he was getting all the time, but it was a separate allowance. And because that allowance was now incorporated into the base salary, it wasn't really an increase. It was something you were getting all the time, but we just shifted. Right? So the amount that he actually got in as an increase was not 47, but it worked out to 28. But still 28, as far as all are concerned, still more than 4. So they want to give you all back pay, part cash, part bonds. You don't know when you're going to get the bonds, or whatever other non-cash payment that they want to give you, or most likely is going to be bonds. You don't know what is the terms of reference for those bonds. You have no idea what the coupon is, what the dividend payment is. And all of that will be worked out. And then you have the CPU telling you, well, might not even happen in this financial year. So you get a little something to hush your mouth for Christmas, right? So you could buy a little liquor. The increased expensive liquor, you could now go and buy that and do a little something, buy some gifts. But after they take out the taxes and so on, what you're left with, and well, see what you can do with that. But I would remind you all were upset. Oh, Rowley and the PNM, they increased salary of parliamentarians and so on. The salaries were increased for 900 persons who fall under the Salaries Review Commission. And it boggled my mind how people wanted to compare salary increases for 900 people to salary increases for tens of thousands of persons, right? When you look at the quantum of the back pay, the quantum of the recurrent expenditure as compared for 900 people as compared to tens of thousands of people is chalk and cheese. But anyway, the point that I wanted to make is Prasad Bisesa, Dave Tanku, Munilal, and the rest of them on the government side, who said, we didn't want the pay raise. We felt that the timing was poor, and the government didn't need to do that at this time, and the country's financial circumstances did not allow for that. And at the time when they were offering the public service 4%, and they say, tighten your belt, and they have no money, but they're going to increase this, and we don't support it. But they took it. And then they come and tell everyone, because it's a commission, the last cabinet approved it, and so it is what it is, and there's nothing we could do. Really? All right. They didn't want it, but they take it. Not only did they take it, no sooner had they come into office, because Parliament was convened, the first session was on the 23rd of May, right? They came in June with the media review and allocated millions of dollars to ensure that they got their back pay, right? They weren't willing to wait until the budget was read in October. That's too long. The same salary increase that they didn't want and the back pay that attended that salary increase that they didn't want, they came very early in the media review and allocated money for that. And they all got their back pay in cash, cold, hard cash. Not no bonds, not no non-cash payments. All of them were happy to receive their back pay in cash. Where are the UNC hypocrites who wanted to kill Rowley? All they rake Rowley over the coals. Where are you? They're offering you all non-cash, but they took their back pay in cash. And I got a back pay too. 72% increase in her salary, the highest of all the members of Parliament and everybody, all the people who fall under the Salaries Review Commission. She would have gotten the highest pay raise, most amount of back pay based on that, right? And she got her money in cash. I invite you. We have Parliament on Tuesday, 1:30. Take a drive up Abercrombie Street from Hart. What's that? It's Hart Street to Knox Street. Take a drive and look on either side, and take note of the range, the long line of vehicles, and all you're seeing is PEK, PEK, PEK. Right? Take a drive and you will see Prado, Fortuna, Land Rover. Oh yes, Audi. See all of them. Line up. Everybody made good use of their back pay. Meanwhile, you all have to settle for pittance.
Little did know, now you know. So you know the Honorable Khadija Amin, the Minister of Rural Development, tall girl. She seems to have on a cape and was about all the corruptions in the corporations. And it's based on those corruptions, they sent home 10,500 CPEP workers, reforestation workers, European workers, so them say it's corruption. But to date, we haven't seen they take no PNM contractor or person to court for corruption. We haven't heard no file being dropped by in the police hand, whatever it is, to treat with the corruption. That is so, it was so mind-boggling and so out of this world that they had to send home 10,500 CPEP workers, although they say the contractors and the contractors sign was the issue. Had nothing to do with the workers who were being paid, not by the contractors, but being paid by the CPEP company. So you cannot keep the 10,500 people and sort out with the contractors. Send home everybody and so they come with a new thing. When the place start to look like the dustbin, That's all the Honorable Prime Minister said the places. And I always say she had to be a dumpster diver, probably his muscle memory from her ancestors who came from India who used to dig in garbage. No fault of their own. It was a cruel, inhumane caste system that had them as Dalits. And because they weren't allowed to be a part of the 4 or 5 Annas, they were to the bottom, the untouchables, they couldn't be a part of nothing. So they was just left to survive however they could survive. So digging in dustbins, scavenging, dump, cleaning filth with their hand, those things were what they had to do in order to survive. Clean the street of filth, because there's a time in India, open defecation was something that they did, and Prime Minister Modi would have run out and tried to do a whole eradication of that public thing. So everybody had toilet in the home and that kind of thing, because not only that, rape is consistent in India, where when the woman go to relieve themselves forever in the bush and thing and whatever, all kind of backhanders happen inside it. So Prime Minister Modi tried to treat and deal with that. But my thing is, I'm saying when Kamala Prasad Bisesa speak about this is a dumb, probably his muscle memory from her great grandmother's stories and thing about the dumpsters and dump and scavenging. I don't know. But anyhow, the place started to look like a dumping true. They created that because CPF not there to clean. They decided to come up with something new. And they hired how much people? 200 people, from 10,000, 200 people. And out of that, people ain't get paid yet. They didn't have no equipment for them. They just went. I don't know how them could clean the whole of Trinidad and Tobago as 10,500. Anywho, so she talking about corruption. So the deputy mayor of Arima, this was in Guardian, the second month, 2026. This is what he had to say. Arima Borough Corporation Deputy Mayor Jovan Roberts says no PNM movement-led regional corporation is under probe for alleged corruption. But there have been issues in 2 United National Congress corporations. Roberts says several PNM corporations obtained corporate sponsorship for the Independent 2025 event, and no taxpayer funds were used for that. Roberts made these comments in a statement yesterday in response to Prime Minister Kamala Prasad Bisesa recent reply to PNM Corporation called for more funding as the shortage is affecting services to burgesses. The Prime Minister, who said funding was adequate, warned that PNM Corporation were not going to get a cent more than the almost 1 billion allocated for fiscal 2026. Prasad Bisesa said they should instead start spending taxpayers' money on services to citizens and not on fetting, rum, whining on the road and paying for ghost projects. However, Roberts accused the PM of unfortunately trying to misinform or mislead, not the first time, by suggesting these things are PNM issues. He added, on her ghost project claim, I checked all corporations and the only one under investigation by the Police Service Anti-Corruption Investigation Bureau, or Bureau, ACIB, is the Miaro Rio Claro Regional Corporation, which is a UNC-run corporation. Roberts cited that the July 2020 issue where Miaro Rio Claro Corporation employees submitted a 35-page document to the ACIB alleging corruption by corporation officials and contractors. Allegations including signing off on incomplete infrastructural project and the misuse of funds. If the Prime Minister wants to suggest that these types of activities or alleged corruption practices are taking place in corporation, she needs not look further than her own corporation. No PNM corporation is under investigation for such activities. Roberts added, one of the claims of taxpayers' money being spent fetting, rum and whining on the road, the Prime Minister knows that government subventions cannot be spent on for these purposes. It is not possible. Anytime a corporation has an activity, it has to be done through either charity or corporate sponsorship. Commenting on Robert's view yesterday, rural development local government minister Khadija Amin said is a total rubbish. Yeah, it will be all the government could be rubbish. Why are you so fascinated with rubbish and sex and rape and who is pedophile? Is it muscle memory? Because there's a report that shows the East Indian community has the highest incidence of incest, rapes. And remember, the PNM government went to Parliament to pass law so that little girls don't get married off the big hardback man. So no 11-year-old will have a 40-year-old man riding his chest and saying, but they married. So when all they're talking about these pedophile and this, that, check in all their quarters first. It seems that there seems to be a projection of the feelings. But I digress a little again. So they're talking about corruption. But really and truly, we hear about Superior Regional Corporation. Remember the back in a long day? We hear about Don Pinal. We did hear Victor Roberts talking about it. We did hear Megru, the monk. What's his name? That man doesn't look like Bayram. Mingru or Mogru or something, so he name. We hear on there, whatever, Don Pinal, Superior, something. It's those corporations you hear about corruption. And who take money and who take money. We never hear nothing on a PNM corporation. So, Honorable Khadija Amin and Kamala Sambi says, please stop projecting what is happening in all the corporation onto the PNM corporation. And you all will have unevenly distributed money to the Port of Spain corporation. Give them millions less. So is it all they want to make sure this corporation where is a PNM corporation, that all they wanted to look bad because the citizens and constituents of this constituency, Port of Spain, North St. Anne's West, Port of Spain South and Laventille and West and all them things, is a large percentage of people of African descent. And it's either Sour Regional Corporation or Port of Spain Corporation that they access St. Anne's East also. And so is it that you all really want to make sure that African people in this country suffer? I'm going to tell you all something. If that is all they taught, that's not going to happen. You know, the people who are going to see suffering is people in the UNC-led corporation. They will be suffering because they always like to say Indian people have all the business and they have all the house and they have property, and African they have nothing. All the Creole they have nothing. But all the taxes that all they pay, come up aside, Mr. will bring all the just like how all they say we is, which is not true, but all they say we have nothing. Come up aside, Mr. will make all your paupers, because look at bars done closed down already. A lot of them is run by people of Indian descent is the bad. Look at businesses that are closing down. A lot of them is people who don't look like me. So come up aside with CES and this UNC government will make all your paupers. You see, all they come out and talk because it's starting to hit all your pocket. So let me continue. This is a special segment here that I'm going to just talk on. All bear with me. It's very important. The conversation that Carnival does nothing for our society, that it is immoral, and that it's just people who are naked and whining. And as Ralph Maraj, who does look like if rum cure he, I say does look like. As if rum cure him. You know when you're putting in salt and it had it, he does look like if rum bring him, so he does look drying, like the rum cure him. That's my opinion. I give an opinion. I didn't say the man does drink no rum. I say looking like rum cure he. Right. He, who feeling all the big words, a very volatile and evil man. You don't hear nothing about it again. He writes in the papers nothing because he's what? Something penitentiary or something so in the Caribbean. You don't even hear him talking on nothing. I hope he's okay. I hope that he has a steady hand, steady gait when he walk in and that. I hope he's okay, right? Anywho, so again, I digress. So I want to talk on this fallacy that Carnival is this immoral thing that it brings no worth to this country and that I want to dispute. So this is something Ralph Farage would have written March 3rd, 2017, Daily Express. I'm not going to read the whole thing because he's a very vile individual, very vile. I intended to leave this year's carnival behind, but couldn't. Drawn by a sense of duty to continue exposing this flawed festival on which governments have spent billions, entrenching the swampland of social decay, where children growing up thinking self-degradation is the norm. I am also encouraged by the positive comments to last on this column, which dealt with an annual degeneracy that is today's carnival. And it continued this year, epitomized on the newsday front page with Usain Bolt, international celebrity, taking our infamy globally, lifting a woman up to his genital region and spreading her legs apart to welcome his jamming to vaginal area, all in full public glare. Bolt heeded the road march call to hold them and walk them, his facial expressions speaking volume about his intent. You know what I want to say with that, just one little piece of thing I think it's jealousy. I think that Ralph Farage, you can't lift nobody and get them to spread their leg and jam them on your genital. I think everything from waist down, I think it's jealousy. Because you had time to sit down and watch Usain Bolt lift, but you didn't sit down and watch when Shaquille O'Neal lift up the Prime Minister up in the air. A Prime Minister up in the air to dunk a ball. You didn't see nothing wrong in that. But once it's African people, so he went on and on and on. He talking about the spreading leg, I tell you, like them consume it. Sex. Is it because the Purana, the Hindu Purana, is laced with sexual abuse, incest, and rape? That is so easy for them to watch everything. A young lady in a band coming from Dr. Rowley. First of all, she ain't no blasted child. If he just stand up straight so that I say he racial, look the girl dancing, he just tripping behind she. Oh God, they say he's a pedophile because he wind up on the little girl. What the ass she doing there? She's a little girl. Where she parents, if that is what she was doing, and she's a little girl. So she was no little girl. But I didn't see Dr. Rowley wind up on nothing. She put back so and he just tripping with. A little girl on a steel band rack. So Dr. Rowley passing and wanted to meet him and she bent over anything. They're saying that the little girl mother, something to the fact like they had she thinking for man and Dr. Rowley. It caused a whole stir. The woman come out, the mother come out to defend the child. I am Julia Davy and I think there's Wilson. I think went to the radio station to protest it. I think it's a man and skip something they talk, all that talk. Everything for these people is sex, and rape. Again, is it muscle memory from your ancestral stories in the Hindu Puranas and what your ancestors went through in India when they came here? Is it? Because everything told you is sex. Anyway, so he said that and oh God, stimulating sex from behind. And oh, listen, he had time to watch all that. And I'm sure even when he watching that, from his waist go down, nothing wasn't happening. Right? So he said that. He went back again in our next article and he talked about, this one was, just so, oh gosh, come on, man. Pretty damn thing. You don't know? I ain't seen it open. But his other column was not right. Turning point. February 18th, so 2027, he write one. 2018, he write the next one. It was updated the 3rd of March 2018. It was in the Daily Express. For the last 2 decades and more, whenever a year starts and carnival looms, a feeling of utter absurdity fills the air. Why are we doing this? Allowing the nation to focus on weeks of overwhelming triviality, from which the vast majority of the population had turned, leaving a mere 100,000 people or less to continue stigmatization of our society as superficial and silly. On Ash Wednesday morning, 2003, I received a treasured call from Lloyd Best, commending me on my article in a shallow state, dealing with the cultural condition of Trinidad and Tobago. I wrote then, another carnival is over and its condition stares us in the face. We'll remember Minche, like Calypso 2, the steel ram, and nothing will transform us in any way. So he has an issue with our carnival. Okay. And Ralph Mirage. There are persons in this community, in this Trinidad and Tobago, who are Seventh-day Adventists. They don't take part in Mass. Jehovah's Witnesses don't take part in Mass, and a lot of church people don't take part in Mass because it doesn't go in tune with their spirituality, whatever, that is respected. A lot of them with a silky hair who look like you, Ralph Mirage, after whining in the same piece of thing, Monday and Tuesday with a leg open and jamming on a man, Ash Wednesday, you can find them in the Catholic Church going for ashes. You don't talk about that part. So all I want to trivialize Carnival as if it does nothing for us. Former Minister of Culture and Tourism, Randall Mitchell, and Mrs. Beverly Ramsey Moore, President of Trinidad, they went out to the UN to speak on the steel pan, on its economic side, the cultural side, the heritage side, the innovation side, and the whole tourist side. They had a good case over steel pan. They were so passionate, they were so real, it was so endearing. Because they were able to show all aspects of the steel pan. From creativity, I tell you, to the formation, being the only musical instrument created in the 20th century, to being an economic venture, because people make steel pan and sell it. The steel pan men and women, most of the pan side has state side that has traveled the world. That's how they make their money. They get paid in not TT, US. They come back and they spend. Children are taught to play music in panyards. They learn to read music. Panyards are becoming now not just to go and play pan, but they have different activities. I remember interviewing, I think it was Cypria Deltones, if I'm not mistaken. They have where they're doing projects with the children. They have a garden, kitchen garden. They have all kind of things with the children. When they come there, it's not just pan only, a whole range of things. Music therapy, it has been used for patients who have mental issues and challenges. The steel pans from back in the era then to now has been featured all over the world in classical stages all over the world. They can play any type of music. People leave all over the world to come Trinidad to play pan and experience our carnival. Our carnival is not just whining, that is just one aspect of it. Our carnival, when you read the history from Ennalis, it speaks about Camboulet, it teaches you about the Jamet Carnival, it teaches you about Carnival 20th century traditional characters, mass pioneers, carnival dates, and its carnival is not just Monday and Tuesday. And fed promoters would have grasped the opportunity to have fed where people could jump and whine and think that is part of it. There's another part with the Minchers and the K2Ks and the McFarlanes, go right back to McWilliams, to the Hearts. These things are real. Carnival is not just Monday and Tuesday. Carnival is not just you see them whining and beads and the panty up behind the boom. Some people love that. There's another part of it. Look there in cookery, they're teaching the little ones to walk on stilts. Moko Jambi, you're learning about it. They're teaching people to work Moko Jambi. They're teaching you to make steel pan. They're teaching you to make the drum. And because all that is a part of the whole carnival, the expression and all that. But you, Ralph, must want to bring it down to where they're just whining. Okay. And the legs spread open. Okay. And always like to talk 9 months after They're making trend because they went behind the bush and all that. How much all yeah? Take little girl children, take Indian women and carry them behind bush and rape them. And they make child and can't stand that because sometimes it's the brother child, sometimes it's the brother-in-law child, sometimes it's the father child, sometimes it's the uncle child. All they don't talk about that. Don't talk about that because you're holy and down some of all of Indian descent like Ralph Farage and all you. Don't talk about that. Only talk about African people and anything because it's a jealousy. All they don't have the vibes, all they have the rhythm, all they don't have the tempo, all they don't have the passion. That is in we. Some of all of Indian descent because all they're wasting all their time to watch we and tell us we are not using all their light and using what all they have to inspire, to be passionate too about what all they have. No. So let me read all you about something called Maticor Nights or Maticor. What is Maticor? This was from Triniview, and I won't read the whole thing. So what is Maticor, right? Maticor or Maticor ceremony begins with a ritual which involves the elder married woman and the younger girls of the household. The bed, bidi, baji, an altar where the puja will be performed is located inside the house, and next to it is placed the ceremonial tray of hardi, sindoor, diya, lota, and traditional sweets. And that is placed on, and it is, yes, there's a whole ritual. The tray is then lifted by 5 elders, married women, and is placed on the head of the unmarried young girl. The girl is then responsible for carrying the tray to the site outdoors where the actual Maticor ceremony will be performed. A young girl is chosen because of her youth, innocence, and purity. So the traditional Hindu wedding can take place over a 3-day period, for the first of which is called Maticor. Maticor night is an important zone of female empowerment. The almost exclusively female-centered ritual is meant to instruct the dulahin, the bride-to-be, on sexual matters through humor, dance, song, and role play. It was in this zone that Hindu women throughout the centuries found a safe haven where they could express themselves without prying eyes of men, pass on valuable traditions from mother to daughter, and to be free to be sensual, ribald, and spicy without judgment or censure. This night is composed of 3 parts: the Maticor, a ritual performed in an area of clean earth with clear running water. The saffron is a ceremony where the bride-to-be is purified and adorned by the youngest female of the gathering, and the application of mehndi, where the dulahin's hand and feet are adorned with henna to embrace and celebrate her beauty. This night is a time of celebration and togetherness that highlights the importance of family and the tradition of women. I just want to make the point that is a traditional Hindu cultural ritual that is done in a Hindu wedding. There are several aspects of it. It takes over a couple of times. You have never heard people of African descent degrading it because that is your culture. But the part that I'm speaking about now, and I will show you all, I want to juxtapose it to what Ralph Farage is saying about we and we carnival, basically we lewd and all that. But I guess once it is behind doors, like the incest and the rape and the sexual abuse and the beatings and the tortures, it is okay. If you do it in front where people could see, they will have a problem. I am giving an opinion. So this is a lady, an beautiful Indian lady describing Maticor. Right?
Hey everyone, today we are doing a Maticor setup. And so what a Maticor is it's one of the first events that happen before a West Indian Hindu ceremony. So it's also known as a digdatin. What that literally means is you're literally digging dirt. And now we're using this dirt to give our thanks back to Mother Earth. So this is the start of your wedding week where you give back that thanks. So one of the first things that you will do before you begin is you're going to bless the tassa drums. So the purpose of this is to ward off any of the negative energy that's around and to bring you just as positive vibes. So what you'll see here is there's some leaves, some sindoor, chandan powder, haldi, some rice, and some supari or betel nuts. And you'll see how we do this after. Next, once that's blessed, we then go to actually do the digging process. You'll see everything that is laid out here that is ready to go, and stay tuned to see what happens.
Right, so that's one part of it. They take that, they put it on the durian head, and they walk down to that area, they dig up the fresh dirt, and they do what, nothing wrong with that. That's cultural tradition, very beautiful. But there's something after. And the first time I saw Matipur was on stage for a performance. I went to a dance concert, and the Indian group put it on, and we were like, oh my God, ah, because we never knew that it had that part of it. And let me tell you, it's wine like that. The elder woman, they have the Dulahinte, and they're showing she how to wine and gyrate. They had the melangen, they had the kumba, and they ting it and lift their clothes and they wine on it. But you know what? Nothing wrong with that because that's tradition. That is for the Dulahin, and that teaching our Indian values. No problem. But the carnival, which has several aspects to it, not just whining alone, just like Matikor. Matikor is not just simply about no whining alone. Matikor has a whole set of things that goes with it that teaches the young Dulahin about our heritage and our history and family and all that. But there's a part of it I'm going to show you all now. So the reason why I just play this thing is to show you all. Don't let some Indian people get in all this space because we whining and we them just whine the same way. Have you seen them in chutney soca? It may not be this one, but have you seen them when they drink? They just whine faster than a train going down a run. And they drunk and they falling all on the ground and they joking and they joking. We don't complain, we don't go, Papa, the right going on. Look, we don't have a problem, but we have a problem with we. The girl from Beaton, the girl from Sila, the girl from Lavante, because only people that whine and get on, they're from Lavante, Beaton, and Sila. They're not from nowhere else in the Trinidad and Tobago. And they're slutty. Everybody else decent. You're doing it behind closed, all right? So I want only to see a compilation of Matipur night, the next part of it. Right? I don't know what happened there. That is all? Okay, I thought it had some more. But that's all I'm gonna see. Director, could you put up in that compilation? There's some that I didn't see. But my point is this. It was a good whining. Some men just come and end up taking part in it. You see two men dressed up with exaggerated breasts and butter. That's remind you of Dame Lauren. They remind you of Dame Lauren. But those are the things that just lift up the dress and whine because they're showing the Dulahin, the sexual motion and how to use it. But nothing wrong in that. That is culture. That is tradition. That has to do with Hindu marriage. I respect that. Nothing wrong in that. I'm just showing. When it comes to African thing now, they always want to play to like we lewd and we this and that, and they're doing the same blasted thing. So, Ralph, that one was for you. Every time you want to talk about who spread leg and this and that, however, remember Matikuru night, when all the official part where they do their ceremony and the thing, whatever, when the woman and them, the elders, whining and showing the Dulahin how to whine and take the man. That's basically it. And 9 months after, because I did it before the wedding, 9 months after what has happened, she pregnant. Let me be real. So let me continue. So Saturday is Calypso Fiesta, and people are already saying they're having some problems. They didn't see Queen Victoria and then I see Mr. Shack. And people are saying, is it because the political commentary hitting hard? And people are saying it is alleged that people get called to say who should get in the finals and who shouldn't. It is alleged. So they only want soft thing. They want a political commentary. They don't want a crooks kind of thing. They want a Sugarlos kind of thing. They want a Mr. Jack Brian London. They don't want them kind of people. It is alleged. They want this softer touch. I don't have a problem with that. Because we tell our stories different ways, different stuff, humorous. But you trying to stifle the voice of the Calypsonian, the art form. Political commentary is a part of our history and our life. And they're Calypsonians who that is their thing. That is where they are, that is where they reside. They treat with the political scenario and make the calypso from it. Some people look at other stuff and make the calypso. Nothing wrong in that. But you are so afraid and so thin-skinned that you are afraid to have a Mr. Shack or Victoria who's saying Negroes for sale. All afraid to have them there because is it that they're holding up a mirror and somebody can't take it? But when I look at the president of Tuku, who seemed to be as peachy as how you call that? He seemed so pickled and so excited because the carnival has soared, the calypso has soared this year, 2026. It has soared. Remember, there was a time when he wanted the Indians to come back to the tent. And he had an issue with Crocro and then kind of calypso. He says, because of them, why Indians don't come in the calypso tent? You all remember the incident with the deceased Ishmael, and Crocro, when Crocro stood in the fence using calypso as his forum to defend one curry master who is now MP for Beatam and so on. Do you remember that? And because of the words he put in his song, Angel Ishmael got offended, God rest his soul, and took Crocro to court, and it ended up Crocro had to pay how much $100,000 and all kind of thing, stifling the voice. Tuko, the president of Tuko, I could remember, if somebody could remember sometimes they could tell me, did not support Crocro. Because I think he felt that Crocro is offensive. And because that Crocro, Indians don't come to the calypso tent. Really? They feel as they've been attacked. Really? So in February 5th, 2024, Tuko president happy to see his Indians at Calypso tent. What was stopping them, Crocro? Calypso is how our stories are told. Long time when Bummer and them men and them sing calypso, if your skin didn't take you, stay away. Because there wasn't lying on it, it was bringing it because that's life, real life. You happy last year to see Indians at the calypso tent. Indians used to always be in the calypso tents. It ain't nothing new. But not a large percentage of people, Indian descendants, come to listen to no calypso. You might more get them to go listen to chutney or something with prayer music or some this and whatever. They don't gravitate really to carnival and calypso. So you happy because Indians back out in the tent. That was last 2024. And this year, you are saying calypso is soaring. Calypso is alive and thriving. Is it thriving because all they leave out certain people because they don't want them, they only want to sanitize Calypso Fiesta? Let me tell you what all might end up doing, Mr. King. You know, my great grandfather was a king. I hope me and you is not no family. My great grandfather name was Nathaniel King. I hope. Or it's my grandmother. One of the two of them. No, and my great grandmother Georgiana King. I hope me and you are not related. You sound too weak on us. my opinion. Yes. Is it that the Calypso is thriving because of the water? When I say water, they don't no disrespect to none of the contestants who are appearing on Saturday. I mean, no disrespect. I'm not saying that all the Calypso water though. That's not what I'm talking about. Do not take it in that context, please. I've heard renditions from people. I loved it. I see one of the girls and then that I used to teach dance. I think she's there, not too sure. I have to look over the list. I love the selections and all that. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm talking about the political commentary. Why are you also afraid of that? When PNM in office and they sing hard hitting, giving PNM, wah, me never see Dr. Rowley or PNM members of parliament talking from that. They take it because that is how Calypso is. So I hope you all don't do and do and do until people stop coming in numbers down at Skinner Park. Because one of the attractions at Skinner Park is to hear the political pecan, you know, that does make the thing. I ain't saying the others don't make it nice or they don't get the thin skin. But that political commentary, want to hear what this little, take that out it and you will be having not a competition or you'll be having a concert. Make up all your mind, is it a concert you will want to have or a competition? On top of that, Michelle Benjamin, who seemed not to understand her heritage, by my opinion. I don't think she understands where she belongs. I think she like a kite at Io. She going anyway. Excuse me. This was in Daily Express. NCC overhaul coming. This was February 1st. Minister of Culture and Community Development, Michelle Benjamin, says she is determined to evolve and enhance the cultural sector to become a greater contributor to the national economy. With this goal in mind, she revealed that the National Carnival Commission will be restructured soon after the conclusion of this year's festival. And what that tell me, water down and cut out African people. Water down everything, cut out African people. We have introduced Carnival 365 to host events throughout the year to support our artists who are already making an impact around the region and the globe, she said. Benjamin additionally said, we are creating tourism attraction program to increase foreign exchange earnings. Our aim is to enhance the value of our cultural offerings, which involves a comprehensive overhaul of both the product and the governing body, the National Carnival Commission. And she went on, yada, 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 yada. And then I see this. Government to tax carnival artists. This was, excuse me, in The Guardian yesterday, because today probably is today. The government move to impose taxes on local artists will be addressed by the Trinidad Unified Calypsonian Organization after Carnival 2026. This commitment was given by TUCO President Inslee King during an interview with Guardian Media as the first attempt by the government to get stakeholders to pay taxes on monies earned for Carnival more than a decade ago had failed. On January 12th, the Inland Revenue Division of the Ministry of Finance advised promoters, band leaders, and local foreign artists of their obligation to pay their required taxes during the 2026 Carnival season. They also advised that it would conduct field visits to stakeholders to ensure their tax obligation are paid. In a statement, the IRD, we have IRD, America IRA, informed promoters that they are required to register for VAT, having earned gross receipt of $600,000 as of January 1st, 2023. We have to pay income tax, corporation tax, green fund levy, deduct, and remit withholding tax for foreign artists, as well as submit returns. And it goes on and on, right? And I want to say here, how we does never see the tax in the doubles vendors. I just ask, and I have nothing against my brothers and sisters of Indian descent who make a living selling doubles. There was a time I used to eat doubles. I did love the thing to buy with the cucumber, the tamarind sauce, and all the different sauces. When I don't eat 2, 3, and that I good for the day. There was a time. until some people start to say certain things or they just put inside, whether they said it in jest or they just whatever. I couldn't take the image out of my mind, so I cannot eat a double story. Because every time it may not be that the people do that, but just hearing that about the feces they put in it and all that, that was the end of that for me. And I kind of didn't miss it until I don't think so. I haven't eaten a double since 2010. I just thought, and unless I make it myself, which I don't have time to go through to make 3-4 who people gonna eat that. You know how much are we to eat that here? So whatever. Huh? So the point I'm making is this: how come you're not hearing anything about taxing double standards? You want to tax the artists. I tell all who say that it's suffering in this country and Dr. Rowley is a dictator and the PNM wicked and evil and bad. This government, UNC government, will make all your paupers. This UNC government will make all your paupers. So I continue. I have no faith, this is my opinion, in that man from Tupo. I don't have no confidence in him. He seems to be, I ain't go go there. So listen, where do you think it is? There's something, the compilation, like directing put it up, but then I just move on. Doesn't clarify Tupo president. Hey. Okay. So these are the large band steel orchestra first semifinals results. I hope all you can see that. I had to pink my eye and know that Renegades with Lizard. I tell you something, from the first time I listened to them play it in the panel, it is something about it. No, I love Massey's also. I'll tell you a while. I was telling director. When I was small, right, I used to eat Catelli soup. Every time I get a cold or anything, my mother and I used to buy Catelli tin soup to me, Catelli. So when I heard as a child of 6, 7 years old, there's a steel band in Catelli, I said that was my steel band because all them does eat Catelli soup like me. So Catelli steel band was mine. So I love Catelli steel band, which is All Stars, which is now Massey's, ever since. Would I ever hear them play and go on? I just love them because there was a part of my soup, right? But you see, Renegades, rendition of Lizard. Oh, Jesus. From the time I hear them in the pan, I say them win. Them winning that this year. When I hear that rendition in the semis, I said, Jesus. No, Massey's was good and Massey come after. But you see what has happened? It has been challenging. When you come after a band that keep that, when you come, now your tune is a totally different vibe. Love it, you will. And I just get the will from a kitchen. Oh God, it's sweet. But trust me now. The lizard run up she leg and it disappear. What that arranger do with that song, that man is a genius. Oh God, I hear something wrong. Hey, watch me now. Them pan, me and them hand and them woman and them hand moving like lightning. But I said, cheese and edges and the children. Watch me. It was good. So I hope all you can see, all I remember is Renegades come first again. They came first in the prelims, they came first in the semis. I know Massey's, they had a lot of ties. I think Massey in 7th place tie with somebody else. And some other bands in between, I can't remember, forgive me, but that lizard run up, she dressed and it disappeared. Sparrow, hey! Sparrow, when you must see them here, it's already on pan. I never know that could sound so on pan. But congratulations to all the steel pan fraternity, all the children, the adults, everybody who take the time and effort to practice when the night come out there while we sleeping in the bed to bring such beauty, artistry, musical genius to us every carnival season. So let me put at the stage. What the hell? What's going on here? I'm not able. So let me continue. So the SOE was finished or up on Saturday. I think it was Saturday, the 31st of January. And you know, they had detained a lot of people under the SOE. And those people have to be released. So a lot of them were released to listen to them. Right? I understand like some of them don't start to look like they're going to take the state to court. I saw Miss Olive has been released, and I saw that she said she learned a lesson. Well, I guess that was what she needed to say. I don't know. I'm happy that she's out with her family because it was very unfair. But what was also unfair, a girl of Indian descent, well, you can see that she has a mixture of what we call Douglas, but more little straight hair. She would have said basically the same thing that Miss Olive said. And her mother plead for her, something Samuel, something so she made. And she wasn't put on a bun. She didn't have to make jail. But Miss Olive, the African woman, was put in jail. So I guess Miss Olive must be saying, you see me, let me bat in my corner, because when things go down, it's me and me alone and my family and whatever. So she would have said she learned a lesson. But it's unfortunate that justice wasn't carried out equally, in my opinion. And I'm happy that the young lady was able to get a bond and not make jail. I'm very happy that she didn't have to endure that. But the African woman, Miss Olive, who said basically the same thing, she was in jail since last, either November, October. She was released also. This is what Victor Roberts had to say to Kamala Prasad, because everything to them is crime. And the PNM in crime and all that. But conversations that people would have, Dr. David Mohammed in Dr. Figaro, I think he's a doctor, yes, but he's a lecturer too. His book speaks about the UNC and crime and all that. I hear speak about the PNM. I hear nobody say the PNM. So listen to Victor Roberts.
This morning, I want to ask Julie John, Wayne Sturge, and Barry Padarat if they were aware of millions of dollars that was given to a particular candidate in the build-up to the April 28th general election. And while I am on that, I want to ask Barry Padarat if he was the coordinator for the East-West corridor. And while I'm asking that question, I want to also ask Barry Padarat what caused the problem between the Tobago arm, which was assisting in the East-West corridor as it relates to the general election. I also want to ask Wayne Sturge if he were promised the Attorney General position. And I want to ask if he were promised that position, why he didn't get it. I also want to ask Firoz Khan if he is aware as to what caused the alleged so-called death threat amongst certain UNC officials. Ladies and gentlemen, you see, while Kamala feels she could threaten the population And while Kamla feel that she could jump out and say, behave yourself because I will run into all your head on, I want to tell Kamla Prasad Bisesa that she needs to run in head on. Run into the criminals that is sitting in government. Run into the criminals that is sitting within the cabinet. Run into the criminals that sits within the parliament. Run into the criminals inside of the UNC. That is where you had to start first. Run into them. That is where I want to go. I have more to say, but I want to rest it right there for now. I go on.
Right, so now Dr. Roberts, who's speaking very freely about the ills of the UNC, speaking about crime. Well, the very big story that has been there for a while now is the killing of Joshua Samaru and the paralyzing of his girlfriend, wife, daughter's mother, Miss Kaya Steele. And we would have all seen the horrific incident on camera, CC camera or somebody's camera, whatever. And what we saw give us, in our mind, give us an imagery, and we come to the conclusion what happened, and it didn't over well for law enforcement because we saw a car crashing, we saw hands coming out, both hands coming out of the car, so it meant to say the driver hand not on the steering wheels, he gave up. That is what put out your hand with police, give up. My hands up, don't shoot. And then we saw a riddling of bullets. That is what we saw. Huh? Since then, the public has been up in, figuratively speaking, up in arms about it. And Kia Steele's school friends, because I think she went to Bishop Anstey, her school friends, they would have spoken out about it and would have organized a protest on, I think it was Sunday. And that has garnered a lot of traction on the news. And when you listen to those two young ladies speak, you realize that them ain't nobody fools. And you can't watch them and say, oh, them too little girl. They came researched, they came with a purpose, they were articulate, and they were not going to back down because they knew they had the law on their side. So I saw this written by Renee Cummins, who is well, I'll read and you'll hear what she's saying, right? It is attributed to her, Renee Cummins. She writes it on Joshua Samuel and Kia Steele. She said, troll sycophants, defenders of the police killing suspects, and those who cannot distinguish policing from execution. This space is not for you. This commentary is for serious law enforcement and criminal justice professionals and informed readers. Proceed accordingly. She said, I do not say this often, but to anyone approaching me with even the slightest hint of disrespect, stop. Yes, I am internationally respected as a criminologist, criminal psychologist, and criminal profiler. I have served as primetime expert providing crime analysis on syndicated American crime television shows. I have been quoted internationally. I have trained judges across the United States. I have conducted extensive police leadership training globally. I have delivered a sold-out law enforcement training workshop in Dubai. And to date, I remain the only Trinidad-born professional featured regularly on American television, providing expert crime analysis with another regular spot on U.S. Prime TV forthcoming. No local police officer, law enforcement professional, or police commissioner of Trinidad and Tobago, past or present, possesses comparable international recognition or record of accomplishment. I am also actively designing the future of policing as a global leader in AI policing and AI-driven criminal justice. You tell them, sister girl. One thing I do exceptionally well is stay in my lane. When I speak, it's because the matter is deeply troubling and because an elevated evidence-based perspective is required. In crisis situations, police training is designed to govern police behavior, or officers' behavior. The fundamental purpose of training is to replace panic with pattern response, replace instinct with disciplined action, and replace fear-driven reaction with legally bounded decision-making. Officers are trained for high-risk encounters precisely so those encounters do not devolve into improvisation. Crisis does not suspend training obligation. Crisis is precisely when training must dominate conduct. Use of force law evaluates threats. Use of force law evaluates threat at the moment force is applied, not based on prior conduct or what happened before. For a behavioral science and criminological perspective, from a behavioral science and criminological perspective, it is highly improbable that a person will knowingly take action that substantially increased the likelihood of a loved one, especially the mother of their child, being killed by the police. Humans' decision-making under threat is shaped by attachment bonds, protective instinct, and responsibility towards dependence. Decades of research in forensic psychology and stress response therapy or theory shows that the presence of a loved one activates risk attenuation mechanisms, not escalation mechanisms. People become more likely to comply, to surrender, to slow their movement, to display visible, non-threatening gestures because they are human. These behavioral realities are embedded in modern use of force training, threat assessment models, and de-escalation doctrine. This is not romanticism, it is pattern human behavior. Risk-taking that endangers a loved one's life runs counter to survival psychology, parental investment theory, and attachment theory. People may act irrationally under stress, but they rarely choose action that predictably place the mother of their child in the direct path of lethal force. These are probabilistic patterns, not absolute guarantees. The existence of rare outliers does not negate dominant behavioral patterns. In practical terms, a suspect may try to save himself, but a suspect is far more likely to try to save the person beside him. Which is why the presence of a co-parent or intimate partner in the vehicle materially alters threat assessment. It lowers the probability of attack-oriented intent. It raises the probability of compliance-oriented behavior. In plain terms, Joshua Samaru was highly likely to surrender because the mother of his child was beside him. And it leads to the same conclusion. Absent an immediate, observable, and articulable threat, the lawful response was arrest, not lethal force. Joshua's hand in the air are a universally recognized signal of surrender. A wordless plea saying, please do not kill us. A language so universal that even children know it means stop. The same way a laughing child being tickled by a loved one raises their hand to say, please stop, I can't take anymore. How could the police officers not know? I needed to read the whole thing because she came with, no disrespect, predicate or what do you call the thing? Oh, you know what I'm talking about? She have papers. Papers like that. Home girl, let me know. Basically, I'm not trying to trivialize what she said. Basically, is this. She's saying psychology and patterns will show you behavioral patterns that somebody is most likely to think in a situation of danger and they with a loved one or a wife or whatever will try to protect that loved one, not escalate a situation that the loved one will be harmed. They may put themselves in the line of fire, in the line of whatever to save, rather than try to escalate and agitate and all that. So he's saying universally, hands up in the air. In those situations, it is known to be a give up, stop, don't shoot, don't kill me, stop it, stop. And in those circumstances, how are police trained or should be trained or ought to be trained in those type of behavioral patterns and how to deal with threats and non-threat and all that, how could they not have known? So Papayo, I needed to read that. So there were protests outside of, as I was saying, outside the Parliament on Saturday or Sunday. I think it was Saturday. I think it was Sunday. Sunday, yeah. Just take a listen.
The high school and friends of Kaya Sili. We are here today to demand justice for Joshua and Kaya, but not only that, but to raise awareness to the public, to let them know that we cannot continue to be deceived by false information painting a different picture. We have to remember that this was a surrendering man. There are murderers, rapists, child molesters sitting in the jails who would have ran from the police for days, weeks, months, even years. And yet still, they were given the opportunity to have a fair trial. Joshua drove from point A to point B, and he was riddled with bullets. I am pleading 19 bullets. I am pleading with the Prime Minister of Trinidad and Tobago, if you would like any semblance of respect and integrity to remain within your government, call for the Commissioner of Police to step down and your Minister of Homeland Security.
Immediately.
He has proven himself time and time again to be an embarrassment to your government.
And the country.
A mother is now partially paralyzed. We have a wheelchair right here to showcase that she now has to spend a valuable amount of her life in a wheelchair if she doesn't recover. A father is dead. 2 children now have to spend the rest of their lives without their father in it. The same father figure that you all say is so crucial towards the upbringing of a child so that they don't end up in the same life of crime. So please, we are here today to demand justice because they're not giving it to us for free. We are here to demand it, and we are here to let the public know that this cannot continue because the next Joshua Samaru could be you. The next Kaya Sili could be you or your loved one. So don't just sit down behind the comfort of your homes on your phone and social media and post about it and share. Come out and actually do something. Because it doesn't just end there. If we allow this to continue, it will never stop and it will get worse.
Yes, man. Yes, man.
Yeah.
So
Give up is give up. It was like this.
Yeah.
Hand was short and hand was high.
Yeah.
And his conquest bullet hit him. Give up is give up.
Yeah.
19.
That is not right.
Oh,
Yeah. Whether a man do right or wrong, give up is give up. Only, also in war. In war, when you give up and you put a white flag up in the air, you ain't supposed to kill a man. That's war crime.
Yeah.
Give up is give up.
Yeah.
That's one of the organizing protesters. And listen to the other young lady.
This has to do with the fundamental basics of human rights. That is not optional. That is not optional. You understand? No institution or no individual is above the law. Transparency, as I said, is not anti-police. Accountability is not anti-police. You understand this? As I'm saying, what has happened, it is a blatant disregard for not just the people in the video, but this has been happening
Over and over.
Over and over and over and over and again. And you know they say it, as they might say cliche, that when it hits home, you will really feel it. Well, let me tell you something. It hits home.
It hits home.
I have known Kaya Sealy for the past, I would say, 13 years of my life. We have went to school together. We've grown up together. And the individual, the outstanding, amazing, hard-working individual and mother that she is, the family that she has cultivated for it to be what it is today, I would not stand for it. And I'm so glad that all of these people came out today because they would not stand for injustice. And that is what this is about, not politics.
That they will, of course, the police came as the job they will come, and the young ladies went across to the inspector, and when they were finished informing him that they know their rights, well, you all will see for yourself.
Justice! We want justice! We want justice! We want justice! Navarro must go! Navarro must go! Navarro must go! Navarro must go! We want justice! We want justice! We want justice! We want justice!
Sorry, what did you say?
Navarro must go! Navarro must go!
Section 109 of the Summary Offences Act, which says 48 hours in advance. Yes, I did, and they said that they received the
They said they received it. What, any permission?
permission is not needed as long as you are not
It is in the law that once we are not marching, we are able to come and use our voices. Once we submit our letter 48 hours in advance, which we did, we got a response saying that it is acknowledged. Due to the law and what is Section 109, we have legally done what we need to do in order to have these proceedings here today. So within the legal process, that's what you want to say, we are within the legal limits.
Senior police officer. It's so shameful, okay? You any objective? I not call it there, I never call it there. I'll pick up each other. Can you continue what you do? Because you said you were such an exposed crowd that she has on what grounds.
And if we legally get everything, we are
I think she could
required
explain to you that according to section, whatever the section is, that what is not a march or we don't march, that we just say, we are the bunks, we are the bunks of the law. And you see that what the culture is. Is it?
So I'm sorry, we're allowed to speak to the media, but we're not allowed to be vocal about what we're feeling. So you're being sent to this process because
it's not dismissal, because if it was dismissal, that was the review. You are sent here so that we can be censored, so that our voices can be diminished. Yeah, that's basically what you're saying, because Panama going on in this Panama right now, and they're making a lot of noise, more than this. So you can't say that we just
what are we doing that we were sensitive
because we're not rioting, nobody getting on, no person. Yes, so we is over, we don't need permission and we correct.
12 o'clock tonight is over.
I don't want it to get rowdy. It's practically correct. So we just kindly ask we're kindly asking on what grounds that this person is trying to stop these proceedings today. Because legally we have done what we have to do. So we're asking on what grounds were you sent to stop? Were there either grounds or did you just take one stop the ground? I think so as well. Personally, we would like to know you came wherever. We're asking why were you sent?
I thought they said that.
I would just like to find out the words that came out of your mouth is you were sent to the schools. Am I correct? So I'm asking on what grounds are you dispersing on? On what grounds are these proceedings being stopped if we are legally within our limits?
Yeah, young ladies, they're letting the inspector know what part of the law they would have used in order for them to be out there. And I will explain it more when we finish this because I need you all to also see this. So just to bring it back to you all again, listen to Ian Allen.
Shortly after the shooting, one of the officers involved in it is heard shouting, "Open your hands, open your hands." Why would you tell a man that sustained multiple gunshot wounds at a scene, open your hand, open your hand? Why were you saying that? Open your hand. You heard it, but why opening my hand for? Was it to put something in my hands? Why am I opening my hands? Open your hand, open your hand. And you heard it there. You heard it there. Footage also continues well beyond the initial gunfire. Captures officers moving repeatedly around the aqua in which Samara was seated immediately after the shooting. Go on with this video. Officers were seen walking up and down within the immediate area of the vehicle, opening the doors. They were opening the doors and positioning themselves inside the car long before crime scene investigators arrived to formally process the crime scene. At various points, the video shows officers leaning on the vehicle, standing over the interior, and remaining in close physical contact with areas typically subject to forensic examination. The recording also showed continued movement in and around the vehicle. How that is possible? Rather than the scene being fully secured and left undisturbed, the incident occurred after Samara, 31-year-old, was pursued by officers and lost control of his vehicle, crashing into a concrete drain along Barcy Street extension within seconds of the police arriving on the scene. Go ahead, it's even seen. We have that part of the video where he raised his hands. Go ahead, switch. Who vex loss? Why would you open your hands? I am only opening my hands if you want to give me something. But how you can give a man something when you have multiple gunshot wounds? Why would you say open your hands, open your hands? Why? That is frightening. That's frightening. It makes you think. And the voice is there, ladies and gentlemen.
That is from Crime Watch. So Ian Allen with his perspective on it. So all those things people are seeing and people are saying, So you can't vex with people or the family or friends of the deceased Joshua Samaru and now paralyzed girlfriend or wife if they're out on the streets protesting. Listen to Ramble's on this.
You know what I find very weird about this police shooting? It's almost a week, if not more, since the incident took place, and we are yet to find out why they were being chased. And I don't mean why as in the sense of, well, he shouldn't run, and because he ran, he deserves it. I don't mean it like that. I mean it in the context of historical precedent. With most other police-involved shootings, we would have at least heard some story by now. Whether it turned out to be truth or not, we would have heard something by now. They shot at us, we shot back, they died. It's almost like they are now trying to find a reason that would justify them shooting at the vehicle, why they were chasing them in the first place. Because if that video footage didn't come out, you know, we would have heard the whole story. The officers were shot at, they returned fire, and one person died in the melee. But because they can't pull that card, radio silence. And in the mix of this, we have a defense minister who is MIA. You can't find this person nowhere. When you see him, you have like 50 bodyguards around him, but we know he's running from people in his constituency. And then we have the Minister of Homeland Security, who can't even answer a simple question in Parliament. He's invoking standing orders to avoid answering a question. And it's not to say the question was something to do with national security. It's a basic question based on the incident. And then we have a police commissioner, the one who was looking like he just came from taking two people behind the station. I am standing with my officers because they went through a traumatic incident and they need counseling. I do not know when we will get it right as a nation. And the thing about this is the longer you will take to release a statement, is the more the public will distrust that statement when it eventually comes. Because it seems like you all are trying to get all the story straight behind the scenes before you all come out with the lie. Right now it seems like the police are sending persons to backtrack their steps up to that point to find every house that have a camera so they could say that he shot at them. But wherever they say he shot at them, I guarantee he won't have no homes with any cameras right there.
Yeah, so that is Ramble's take on it. Riot police were called out So listen to Victor Roberts on that.
Don't fucking kneel down. You're not living in Russia. Stand up. You're not living in Russia.
So the riot squad is here now.
We protest against government.
A peaceful protest. Alexander is the biggest criminal.
So the riot squad is here. The riot squad is here now.
Yeah, the riot squad here.
Long ago they do some shit. You know what they do? They burn the blasted Red House song in my great grandmother time, you know, remember?
Yeah.
We get massive, we ain't doing nothing.
Justice for Joshua! Justice for fire! Go home! We want justice!
All right.
Yeah, so the riot squad was sent out. And probably who gave the order, it had to be a high-ranking police officer. And if the young lady said they wrote to the commissioner or the police, informing them of having this protest, and they got a response. And the law says you don't need permission. And that's what they were doing. They were not marching, they were protesting, they didn't have a blowhorn. There wasn't running up and down, there wasn't obstructing the traffic. There was no parliament on. It was Sunday, the place basically quiet. Why was the riot squad sent out? And then after, they would have left. So, the family of Joshua and Kia, they want, this was in the Guardian, the lawyer representing the family of police shooting victim Joshua Samaru says they believe Police Commissioner Alistair Guevara should step down as the probe into the matter is carried out. They say this is because they do not believe he will be neutral, given his early comments on the incident in defense of the officers involved. I think they were going to, he said they needed counseling or something to that effect. And now I think he's saying they will be put on desk duty, so I don't know. Then there was a response. It may not be directly to the lawyers or what, but this was the response. So this again was in the Guardian. Commissioner of Police Alistair Guevara has no intention of stepping down or bowing out despite mounting public calls for him to be removed as head of the country's leading national security agency. No intention to step down. And then this. This was February 2nd in the Daily Express. Judge slams police orders 100,000 for wrongful arrest. And it says here, a High Court judge has called for the mandatory use of body cams by police officers and urged both citizens and law enforcement to rely on cell phones and CCTV to record police encounters until such measures are in place. The call came from Justice Frank Sipasad in a ruling delivered yesterday in favor of a member of the regiment who successfully sued the state for wrongful arrest and malicious prosecution. The judge also raised serious concerns about the near total erosion of public trust in the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, describing the situation as disturbing and deplorable for a country grappling with rampant lawlessness. Following a short virtual trial, Justice Sipasad awarded Elton King $75,000 in damages with an additional $25,000 in aggravated damages for a total award of $100,000 along with his legal costs. King was represented by attorney Salian Holden. The case again highlights the need for a review of the laws pertaining to police accountability, the judge said. Recent statistics have indicated that public trust and confidence in the TTPS is under 10%. For a republic which is besieged by rampant lawlessness, this is disturbing and deplorable. So the Honorable Justice Frank Sipasad has told the public to videotape the police in carrying out their duties. Now, I heard today on radio, I think is Mr. West. So I'm going to paraphrase something he said, and basically, there's no law, I think he said, no law against, I don't want to, so let me just say, I think I heard he said, there's no law against a citizen videotaping a police while carrying out their duty. But you're not to interfere with the police carrying out their duty. You're not to push your phone up in their face and cuss them and impede their movement and all that, but you can stand and as safe space off and you can videotape what is happening. That is nothing illegal, and the police ought not to do anything for that. But if you're obstructing them, putting the phone up in their face and cussing them and all that, they may use their discretion and treat with the situation, right? The judge here is saying we should continue to take police officers in action until mandatory wearing of the cameras is accepted or adopted. Then I also read here in the Newsday, this was June the 12th, 2023. This was judge clarifies law on public protest. No police permission is necessary. So protests, as opposed to public marches, do not require the permission of the Commissioner of Police, a High Court judge has ruled. On Monday, Justice Ricky Rahim held that a police officer who insisted that Dibe businessman Vijay Ramlal, owner of the Fun Splash Water Park, needed the permission of the commissioner to hold a one-man protest outside the Red House in early February against the government safe zone policy in 2022, did so unlawfully. However, because Ramai failed to prove his constitutional rights were infringed, the judge dismissed his complaint. In the view of the court, the unlawful instruction given by the police constable did not on this occasion lead to any constitutional infringement. That is not to say, however, that the police constable was justified in his action, Rahim said. It was for this reason he ordered both sides to pay their own costs. Ramais filed a constitutional claim challenging the police instruction to put on his placard as he had no permission to protest. At the time, he was protesting the imposition of the safe zone policy imposed during the COVID-19 lockdown. He said his peaceful demonstration was to highlight his dissatisfaction with a safe zone policy which discriminated against businesses like his, since at the time, children under 12 were being banned from safe zone. So basically what the judge said, the judge clarified that the law on public meetings. The judge said the word protest did not feature in the Summary Offences Act, and there was a distinction between a public meeting and a public march. In the case of the former, that is the protest, so long as the gathering will be for more than one person in a public place, one must give notice to the commission. So if it's more than one person, because I've done several one-man protests by my whole self. I remember doing a 7-day one-man protest in front of the Ministry of Youth Development and National Services, that was called then. And I know they called the police on me. It was Sinclair police was driving up and down, but I was walking on the pavement with a placard, not disturbing anybody, not making any noise, not blocking the entrance and exit of the ministry, and you can't do me anything for that. I could walk up and down the whole night if I choose to. Once I don't disturb anybody, I don't disrupt anybody, I don't block any passengers, I don't block the pavement, I don't hinder the traffic, I'm not cussing, I don't have a blowhorn. I could walk up and down by myself whole time, and I did that. So when the police keep only passing and watching me, I was not too concerned because I know I was not breaking the law. I've done several one-day protests in front of the PSA. I come off the pavement and I stand on the steps of PSA where they can't move me, because PSA as a paying member is my own too. Because PSA is a members organization, I was standing on the steps of my organization that I pay $100 for. I wasn't blocking the door, I wasn't hindering people passing on the pavement, I wasn't saying nothing, I had no placard. Nobody can do me anything. So I fully understand that. But if it was me and 3 and 4 and 5 other people, then you would have to write to the commissioner of police about having this protest. And again, you don't block entrance, you don't block exit, you don't disrupt any traffic, anything. You don't be, that you're not cussing and carrying on. But if you're having a public march, then you will have to seek permission from the commissioner of police. So the judge and the address putting it here, it says here, there is no statutory requirement for one applies and be granted permission to hold a meeting in a public place. All is required for notice to be given, and in such case, the judge said the commissioner can then act on that notice. So you can have a public meeting, protest, you just inform the commissioner, I think 48 hours prior, you get a response and you can have it. If you're having a march where it could disrupt traffic and the flow and that, you have to get police permission. However, the public marches permission must be sought and granted, right? That was just said. So the young ladies knew the law and they knew what they're doing. It was not infringing on anybody's right, and it was their right to protest. So I'm seeing here the Trinidad and Tobago Police Service, Chapter 1102. A person who desires to organize any public march shall at least 48 hours before, but no more than 14 days before the day with which public march is to take place, apply to the Commissioner of Police for a permit. This application shall be in writing, signed by the person or persons desiring to organize the public march to which the application relates, and shall state the name, the address, the telephone number, contact of each person desiring to organize such a march. 2, the purpose or purposes of the march. 3, the point of departure en route and point of termination of the march. 4, the hours between which the march is expected to take place. And if you want to use public address systems, you have to also apply and get permission. That is for public marches. But public meetings and public protests, all you need to do is write to the Commissioner of Police and say you're going to have this, whatever it is, and you don't need permission to have a meeting, public meeting, or a public protest. I just say you need permission to picket, neither. Peacefully, because I've picketed several occasions by my whole self, right? So people know the law, get in tune with it, so that when the police come, you can respectfully explain to them that this is a protest. We're not blocking entrance, exit, we're not blocking the pavements, we're not hindering anybody, we're not causing disturbance, and we would have written to the commissioner 48 hours prior, and we got a response, and we're here. If you're having a public march, then you will have to seek permission. And if you're using blow horn and PA system and all that, you have to seek permission for those things. So I just wanted to bring that there to you. And this is an evolving situation. And this situation is evolving. It will not go away. It will not go away. It have another, let me just show you before I go again, because these things are important. I'm going back again to the Madikor night, because I was looking for another part of the video. Watch this. Okay. Hey. Right, so that is Madikor night. Ralph Maraj and they have not to say what because I them culture. and them culture better than everybody else. So if you take on some of them. Again, this has nothing to do with looking on nobody culture. I was just trying to make a point. And when you fight on Carnival, that has so much parts of it, not just about Monday and Tuesday or the road or the bikini and that. It has so much parts of it. It's a living and breathing thing, has so much part. But the only thing that Ralph Marash hold on to right through is the whining and jamming. I tell you, like something in them, in some of them, like all them that see sex, sex, sex. And I want to know some muscle memory or something inbred in them or something, that everything is sex, sex, sex. They have to look at it. He's so disgusted. So I just wanted to bring that there again, and as I saw it, I said, I'm going to play it over. So people, Carnival is upon us. Be safe. Stay safely, drink in moderation. Make sure you have a designated driver. Make sure you're kind order. You'll be talking on your phone. Make sure your headlight working. Make sure you follow the speed limit. If it ain't no sign up, well, I don't know what you go do, because I might see a sign up and saying, no more, I just call it a figure, 60 miles per hour when you're driving that, and then a next sign was there that you don't know nothing more than the speed limit is now 30 and you're speeding at 60, and then it's a whole mess. But this government is going to tax people in this country into poverty. It won't be crime making them poor. It will be taxes making them poor. The UNC will be known for a government that tax its citizens into poverty. And that is why people are complaining, because she hit in the pocket. So you have to contend with crime with a few, and then a whole government now taxation. So you're back against a whole crime one way and taxation one way. So if you make the money to pay the taxes, you have taxes still to pay, increases and that, and then it listen to me. That is a crime by itself, a white collar crime. That is white collar crime. So people, before I go, I want to show you, or excuse me, a little thing with some pan crawl, but I have to call it pan crawl. Let me just put this.
Inch by inch, the pan crawl was on. Wednesday night marked the final round of judging in the National Panorama Preliminaries, and Port of Spain was alive. 7 bands competing for this year's Panorama title, and hundreds of pan lovers on the move. Driving wasn't an option. Traffic locked on the capital, but no one seemed to mind.
It's my first time doing a pan crawl all over the north, and I love it.
Last time we rented a van, 25 of us went, visited all the different panyards. If you want to see the greatest thing on earth, be here.
The competition was stiff, the performances fierce, from new music to classic calypso melodies. With rival steel bands cheering each other on, the pan crawl rolled on past midnight, and the crowd stayed right with it. Pan Trimbago President Beverly Ramsey Moore says the turnout was bigger than usual at every panyard.
I'm lost for words. The bands were different. This year the music is so high, the arrangement. I don't know what is happening in 2026, but I can't wait for Savannah Party.
That's right. The Panorama season is heating up, and all roads now lead to the Panorama semi-finals on Sunday at the Queen's Park Savannah.
Yeah, we're going on the Queensland semi-final. Yeah. For sure. That's Sunday, February 1st, right? So, see you there.
Angelo Chetadaya, CNC3 News.
Let me get all that picture before I go. So as I see the one with the flag, I remember when I was going to school, I was in about Form 4 or 5, anyway. It had a steel band from around St. Paul Street. I could call the name. They wanted a flag woman. I was playing power, but because I was living on Ruka, it was challenging to after school to go and practice and to go on that hour and all that. So I really couldn't play, but I really, if I had continued, I'd have been. So I had to, so the next best thing to hold the flag, there was pay. I asked them how much. I ain't gonna tell you how much, but I said I passage for school, I could buy something, books, whatever. Watch me now. I don't see how big I is. I take that flag And watchmen are a good line. I fling flag, so I fling waist, so flag go through my leg, come wrong, so spin. Well, that's Santa men are good. And when I don't like collect my money, home because I reach home to Lucas. So I had a good time. I was a flag woman for one steel band back in the day. Oh, these are my tiny whiny. Anywho's, I want to tell you all it's such a pleasure. Hear me pleasure now. It's such a pleasure. It's such a pleasure doing this with you all. Thankful for the support as usual. And I will let you all know if I have anything on Friday. I'll really let you know if I will jump in and do something on Tuesday. But I'll update you, all right? Thank you all for this the support always. All my peeps on Facebook, all my peeps on YouTube, Bounce Up channel, and director for allowing me the space. Everybody who does support me. Love all you. Let me leave all you with this. And if I will see all let me see all who they first. Quick, before I go. So Roslyn, Anon, Mr. Gibson. Who again? Where the damn thing is moving? Donna, as I say, Vernie, Rookman, who again, boy? And they had nothing to do. That man must be looking for a safe place to stop. Get them here as well. Let them go like back and I'll go. No, Mr. Gibson, somebody there. Brenda, when you're hungry to get into office politics, girl, you telling me, Jimmy say all the steel band where they feel is PNM, nothing for them. That is so sad because you see the Indian minister who talk about if you want to see me, that one has had to say not all Indian people like that. You can say, oh, look how he love it, and he telling people, excellence, here's the place to be. Imagine that. And he say, a whole maxi of them, 12 of them, a van of them 25 or something. So them just go all over the place to listen to Pan. The song, Samuel, Bobby Muhammad, and the list goes on and on. I don't know, Kamala, and them they're trying to think me into Devon Stewart is the granny. Yes, I know he is. Oh, they're talking to somebody else. Let me tell you something. They want to bring me into as paupers. The taxes is to make me poor. The policies is to make we hate one another, and them just they good way just so. That long time thing. And it's everybody, I love all you. Let me end with this. Let me come out of this here. So people, what's this here? You know I had to show my member of parliament, Stuart Richard Young SC. I do business law, what they want to say, you know, but they're happy, yes. But they sit down there. So long they don't support all the member of parliament, I don't support mine. So watch him here. Oh God, it's sweet. Oh, Jesus. I'm going to say it. I'm going to all you listen. The things which I feel like when you don't carnival with a big lizard on my shoulder, I go and see that I go now. I don't think that's a good idea. I'm going to see if I get a lizard on them, so I paint that on my shoulder. But it's not going to get well run up nobody dress. I want my shoulder, I go in town like a lizard. But only you know the talk. All yeah, I love all yeah. See you all on sometime later in the week. Be safe out there. Be safe out there. Gone. All my peeps are gone. Oh, they're not easy. Not me, huh?
Good morning to all. Good morning. As you all know, this business, we have no pension in it. We have to move as a family. And a family that comes together, stays together. All right? Toast for that.
Boom blast, Viking, Marshall, Skinny. Cause when we roll, we don't roll alone. So anywhere that we go, you feel no. I'm moving every with me, family. With me, family. When we come to play, we mash and fun. Turn up, dance, we like a hum. Cause everybody jump it up together, jump it up together, together. Mash it up together, mash it up together, together. Wave it up together, wave it up together, together. Jump it up together. Hey, we don't see skin, we don't see color, we see strength, we see power, we don't see race. One or the other, one see is breathing on this earth, he is my brother. Well, even if we fall out, brethren, we go all out. We will never watch the family, them fall and sprawl out. From everywhere we crawl out, we ready to brawl out. Fire burn, our friend is family, we ball out. But we jumping with we family, with we family. When we come to play, we mash and fun, turn up, dance, we like a hum. Cause everybody jump it up together, jump it up together, together. Mash it up together, mash it up together, together. Wave it up together, wave it up together, together. Jump it up together. It's plenty away, my crown on the empty away. The bond that we have is unbreakable for the long term, it's not temporary. Hands up, if you love family, show me your hand if it is one away. Don't follow me cause technically all the way is way. Well, let me tell you one time, family is family and they're different from bloodline. Some say them is blood but them don't want to see the sunshine. Family don't ever afraid to have your back at all time. Tell them and the friend, we frontin' with we family. With me family. When we come to play, we mash and fun, turn up, dance, we like a hum. Cause everybody jump it up together, jump it up together, together. Mash it up together, mash it up together, together. Wave it up together, wave it up together, together. Jump it up together. Hey, we don't see skin, double M. We see power, Colin. We don't see race, yeah. Skin is fabulous. We see brother. I'm moving every with me family. With me family. When we come to play, we mash and fun, turn up, dance, we like a hum. Cause everybody jump it up together, jump it up together, together. Mash it up together, mash it up together, together. Wave it up together, wave it up together, together. Jump it up together. Hey, Skinny fabulous, you know what I'm saying?